Hey, welcome back to Lab Games. Today we're going to play through Pandemic the Cure by Z-Man Games. So Pandemic the Cure is a dice game for 2 to 5 players where we will take control of different roles and travel around the globe to try and cure 4 different diseases before our timer sort of runs out, and we'll explain that in a bit. But essentially, it's a bunch of dice mechanics. So we're going to roll dice for the diseases. We're going to roll dice for for whichever role we play, and each role gets unique dice. And there are also event cards that we'll get to take advantage of during the playthrough. So with that, I think we'll jump in. I'm going to go ahead and select 2 roles to play with, and then get their dice prepared, and then I think we could probably kick this right off. So let's jump in. Alright, so the game comes with 7 different roles that we're going to choose from. What I'll do is I'll just shuffle them up and pick 2 randomly. So it doesn't really matter. Each of them has unique skills, unique dice. So we're going to be the researcher and the scientist. So let me grab those dice and put the rest of these back in the box. Alright, so I've taken each of the different roles pawns. So these are going to be where we track our locations. And each role gets, well, each of these 2 roles gets 5 action dice. And each action die has multiple symbols on each face that mean different things. And we can go over those in greater detail. But essentially they're going to allow us to travel, they're going to allow us to treat some of the diseases, collect samples so we can find cures, and then some will work against us and actually advance the infection rate, which is what we don't want to see happen. But it's going to happen inevitably, so we're going to have to sort of deal with that and manage it throughout the playthrough. So let's look at the board, and we'll go through some of the timers. Okay, so in the center of the board we have this tracker, and there's 2 different components to this. So there's the tracker for epidemic rate, which also determines the difficulty setting for the game. If we were to start here, this would be easy. Starting here is basically normal or standard difficulty. So every time we get a biohazard die, we're going to advance this, and then every time it crosses into a new threshold, it's going to trigger an epidemic, and we'll go through what that means as well. Whenever an outbreak occurs, we're going to have to, and it's basically if there's three of the same disease, more than 3 of the same disease or same color die in any of the regions, it's going to spill out to the other regions, and every time that happens, we advance this tracker by 1. And if that ever reaches the skull and crossbones, we lose the game. So we want to basically manage how many infections there are in each of the different countries, so it doesn't get over 3. But it's kind of tough to manage that, and you'll see how that works. In the center of this tracker, this represents the treatment center, and that's where you'll see that we get to move some dice to the treatment center, and some dice from the treatment center to the bag to get them out of play. And we'll have to manage that as well. So with that, I won't go into too much detail. You'll see as we start playing. Okay, and as for the remainder of the board, it's pretty straightforward. Here we have all of the locations and what die face each of them represents. That's where any dice that we roll that come up with this face, that's where the disease is going to go. Each of our characters, or each player, begins in Region 1 North America. That's where we're going to start the game. So I think we're pretty much set up there. We can look at the event cards, and then we can start rolling disease and see how the board's going to shake out. Alright, this is our event deck. At the start of the game, we're going to draw 3, so there's always going to be 3 available events throughout the game that we can purchase with dice that we have in our CDC. And the CDC is located just up here. So this is basically the order of play, and any cured diseases that we're able to complete, we get to mark here. That won't stop them from coming into the game, but it will make curing them or curing regions of that disease much easier. And you'll see how that plays out. So let's go through the play order, and then we'll jump in, and we'll set the diseases up. Okay, so order of play. We're going to start by rolling. We'll take the players will alternate, so each roll will take a turn. And for each turn, they're going to start by rolling the player dice, and we'll take actions. And we can roll the dice as many times as we want until we roll that symbol, and that basically locks the die, and it can no longer be re-rolled. We can give samples, and I'll show you how that works. We can try to find a cure. We'll also show you how that works. And then we have to infect the regions based on the infection rate. The infection rate at the start of the game is 3, so 3 new infections come in are added to the regions based on what we draw from the die bag. So that's really it. And let's draw the starting infection. Okay, so here's the dice bag, and this does come with the game, which is actually a pretty nice thick one. So we've got all of our infection dice in here. So we're going to just draw 12 out at random, and then we're going to roll them. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so what we do is we basically roll the dice, and we just allocate them to the different regions. All right, so any of these pluses, we're going to move to the CDC. So those are good. So we've got, just basically it's a number order, so it's pretty easy to allocate these. There's 4s, there's a bunch of 3s, and we're going to have to re-roll this one. And that, because you can't start the game with an outbreak. So it's a 5. Alright, so now we're pretty stocked here. So one more black disease, and this is it's gonna be an outbreak, and so we're gonna want to definitely handle that first. So that's the setup. We can jump in and start playing now. So I guess we'll start with the researcher. That'll be our player 1, and then we'll move on to the scientist. Will be our player 2. All right, let's get this going. All right. One thing I want to do, before I start rolling, is you want to make sure you understand how your characters are able to get around, right? So our researcher has a ship. Now a ship allows you to travel to an adjacent region. So you really can't jump all over the board with the ship. So you have to keep that in mind, knowing that she's at least 2 spaces away from the area that I want to treat at this point. So I want to get these needles, because as they're going to treat, I don't want to roll these biohazard symbols. And you've got some that are like dual symboled, like this one. So that can be a ship, or it can be collect a sample. And collecting samples is really just taking one of the die from the treatment center and putting it on your card, and then that allows us to try and cure it later. A roll for a cure later. So I think that's all she has, or that one's just treat, take a sample. So she also has a passive ability. So you may give samples to other players in any regions for free at any time. So that's actually quite good. So normally you have to be in the same region as another player to give them your samples, but she can do it no matter where she is. So I can kind of split them up on the board. But let's go ahead and roll. See what we're going to do here to start. So we can take some samples. I got my 2 ships. That's good, but I do want to treat. So I'm gonna roll to see if we get some treats. All right, cool. So we got 2. Maybe I'll take a sample. We'll try to knock out the black one first. All right, so let's go ahead and start spending our dice. Okay, so she's going to start by spending her ship. And that's going to let her travel 1 adjacent. She's going to spend a second ship to travel here. And now she's going to spend 1 cure to cure one of these blacks. She'll spend her second cure to cure a second black. And then she's going to spend her collect sample, and she's going to take a sample of this disease that is now in our treatment center. So that's going to go on her player card, and she'll hold on to that. And at any point during my, on my turn, I can go ahead and try to roll the dice the sample, as many as I've collected, to try and get 13 or better. Obviously, I can't do that with 1 or 2 die because you can't roll 13 with 2 d6s. So the minimum you probably want to do that with is obviously 3 samples. So she's going to need at least 3 samples before she can attempt to cure this disease. So her turn is done. I've spent all of her dice. And I think I'm not going to buy any event cards at this point. I'm going to save up a little bit and we'll see. We'll use them when we need them. So the last thing you do is we're going to have to infect the region. Alright, so at the end of every player's turn, you simply draw the amount of dice listed here at the infection rate. So shake it up, and I'm going to draw 3 dice. We're going to roll them and then add them to the map. So these are our 3. We've got a CDC, which is nice. So we've got another black in 3, which would have triggered the outbreak. So that would have been bad. So we now move on to our scientist. Okay, let's look at our scientist abilities. So she also has ships. There's airplanes in here too, which allow you to travel to any location. But she's got the same limitations, right? So she's allowed to add 2 to the total of any roll to try to find a cure. So she's the one I want to get to find the cure. So I'm going to try to get her to that region as well. And I know my researcher, she can give her, I don't even need to get her to this region, but I would like to try to cure the black disease quickly. So I want to get her there to take some samples as well. So let's see if we can get her there, because I want her to be the one to roll for the cure. Alright, so we're going to have one of those biohazards, which is bad. I got a ship and a cure, a sample. I definitely need another ship, so I can roll this as many times as I want until I get one of these symbols and lock it. So she's got just enough for me to do what I need to do. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this biohazard and increase the infection rate by 1. So if that ever crosses over, then we're looking at an epidemic, which we don't want. So she's going to have her 2 ships. She's going to travel 1, 2. She's going to cure one of the black, and she's going to take a sample of the black. So she's going to take her die, grab one of these, and then place it on her card, and then her turn's done. So now we're going to go back and do the final step, which is the infect regions. All right, again, we're still with an infection rate of 3, so we'll draw 3 dice, 2 blues and a red, and we get 1 for the CDC and 2 1s. All right, that was a good roll. So we go back to the researcher. You get the basic flow of the game. This is it. We're just going to keep going until we until we cure these diseases. So it looks pretty easy now, but it gets pretty ugly once things start to happen, and you'll see it could get like I was playing this the other day, and I was moving, I was trucking, I was getting towards the end, I had 3 cured, and then it just got, everything just went bad. So I ended up losing all in like 1 turn. So so we'll see how this one goes, but I have a good feeling right now, which is probably the kiss of death. So let's move on to the researcher. All right, so I think we're gonna move on from here with our researcher, and maybe I'll grab 1 more sample to give to the scientist, and we'll move on. But you see that if you've got samples, they're tying up your dice, so you're not going to get to do as many actions if you've got a sample. All right, so I'll take that as a sample. She's got 2 moves, and I can so maybe I'll take her to another region and have her grab another sample. So I think this is actually a good roll. So let's go with that. What I think I'll do, I think I'll spend 2 of these CDC symbols, and I'm going to buy this mobile hospital card, this event. And what this is going to do is, for the cost of 2, is when entering a new region this turn, move 1 infection die from the region to the treatment center. And that'll just help me clear the board a bit. So this goes on the bottom of the deck, and then I just bring out a new one. So there's always 3 out. All right, and I took those the dice that I used from the CDC and I put them back in the infection bag. So let us get on with her turn. All right, so our researcher is going to move. So she's got a move die. We'll spend that. And she's going to move here. And this automatically, the mobile medical unit automatically sends one of these cases to the treatment center. And from here, I'm going to use this to treat another one. And so that's going to go here. I'm going to use these two to take two samples, right? So I'm going to take a black and I'm going to take a yellow. And now that my turn is over, once all my actions have been taken, this particular roll allows me to give samples to other players in any region for free at any time. So I'm going to give these to our scientist. So she's got 3 of the black diseases, and she's going to be able to try to cure those. Remember, she gets a +2 bonus to her roll. So now she's got a sample of the yellow still, so we'll try to actively cure that next. But that ends her turn, so now we're going to have to infect the regions again. We are still at infection level 3, so we will take 3 dice. Roll them up. What do we got? Wow, all 3 CDCs. That's wonderful. So yeah, this is turning out to be a nice easy one so far. Let's go over to our scientist. Okay, so we are definitely going to attempt to cure these diseases, and you have to do that after you take your actions and roll your dice. So let's see what we got. Ship, couple needles. So this is a pretty good generic roll. What I think we'll do, I mean, I could almost guarantee the curing of this disease. I don't necessarily think I need to. With 3 dice, I mean, should I? I mean, I could, by taking another sample, I could cure that, take a sample, and that'll give me 4 dice to roll with trying to cure it. And I only need a 13. Right now I have 3 d6s. So +2. So it's 3d6 +2 to roll a 13. That's the odds are pretty good. But I think I'm going to play conservative, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to spend this to cure this. Well, to send it to treat it. It's going to send it to the treatment center. I'm going to spend this to take a sample of it. So now we've got 4 samples taken. But now I'm going to move. And I'm going to go, I can move 2, or I can move 1 and treat 1. So I might as well just move 1 and treat 1. Put this yellow in the center. And I think that's our turn. And now we'll try to cure the black disease. And that's simply, we take these dice off. And we're going to roll these 4. So it's 4d6 +2. So it's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Wow, so I'm kind of glad I did that. So this is cured. So we just found the cure for the black disease, and now we have to basically identify that on the cured diseases card, and I'll show you how we do that. All right, so we're going to put one of the cured disease dies on here to show that we've cured it. So now when we treat, now the black disease is still going to come out, but in a region when we treat it, instead of spending 1 syringe per case, 1 syringe will treat all of that disease in that area, or in that region. So the remainders go back in the bag. So any that would have been in the treatment center go in the bag. Any that would have been still held as samples go back in the bag. I can give these 2 researcher dice back to my researcher, and my scientist's turn is over. So now we go back to the infect region stage. Alright, so we are a quarter of the way to winning this game. So I've got 3 more dice. And we've got 2 2s and a 3. 2 2s and a 3. Alright, so we really, I guess we can try, we'll definitely try to get yellow next, and then maybe blue. So right now it's our researcher's turn, so we're going to have to try to take some samples with her, I think. Alright, so we want at least 2 samples. Whoa, okay, so we rolled 2 biohazards. And we can take 2 samples, so I think let's play an event. So I'm gonna spend 1 of our CDC dice and play containment attempt. So we're going to attempt to contain this. I'm going to re-roll 1 player die with a biohazard result before it takes effect. So we are going to do that. And I'll re-roll this. And good. So we're only going to have to suffer 1. What I'll do with her is I'm going to re-roll this. I don't want a syringe. Damn it. Alright, so I just undid everything I did. Alright, so I've got 2, and the reason I re-rolled is because I want to take samples, and I didn't have enough to move and take a sample, so it would have been a waste. But, oh well. Let's see how this pans out. Alright, so you remember I've got 2 of these biohazard symbols, so that's going to move us up 2. It's not going to hurt us yet, but it's going to hurt us next time we roll one. I've got 2 sample dice that I have, and I'm going to take 2 of these yellow samples, and I'm going to give all of my yellow samples to my scientist. So you may give samples to other players in any region for free at any time. Right? So there she goes. She's got 3 of these yellows, so she pretty much just needs 1 more to guarantee we're going to cure this one too. So that's it. Let's infect regions and move on. Alright, so we take our 3 dice, roll them up, and we get 6, a 5, and a 4. 6, 5, 4. Still not hurting in any of our regions, so let's go to our scientist. Alright, so if I can, I'd like to get my scientist to try to treat 1 more yellow, but if I can't, then not a big deal. Oh, that's going to be a problem. Alright, so I can travel 2 and take 2 samples. No, I want to do 2 treats. Yikes. Not what I wanted. Not what I wanted. See, this is where it all spirals. Bad things start happening. I just want the needle. There it is. Alright. So let's deal with this now. Great. Okay, so we've got 2 biohazard dice, so that's going to move us up, and we're going to cross the threshold. And this is going to result in an epidemic. So what happens during an epidemic is we would take all the dice in the treatment center, plus the new number of dice in the infection rate, which is still 3 in this case. It doesn't go up till next epidemic. And we basically have to reinfect everywhere. So 2, 2, and 5. So 2, 2, and 5. So now, had there been a third, or say I had an extra 2 here, a blue rather, in the 2 section, and that would have brought this to 4, that would have sent the blue die here, and it could trigger events, chain events of spreading of these diseases and cause an outbreak. So we didn't have that, so we were fortunate. So we can press on with the rest of her turn. Alright, so our scientist has 2 boats and a syringe. So I think what she'll do is she'll treat that with a syringe and then take a boat 1, 2. She'll head this way. And that's all she can do with her dice. But we're going to get to roll and try to cure yellow. We're only going to have 3 samples this time to roll. So remember, we need 13. She gets a +2. So 5, 6, 7 plus 2 is 9. She fails. So that's all. She just has to try again next turn. We did not cure it. So my researcher's got 3 dice locked up, so her turn's going to be fairly weak next round. Alright, so we have to infect regions again. Take 3 dice. Roll them up. And what do we get? Alright, 1 goes to the CDC. We have a 1 and a 2. So that 2 region's bad. That's a potential outbreak. So we're going to have to try to treat that if possible. Alright, so our researcher, she starts with her roll. She's got 2 treatments. What I'm going to do is I'm going to buy this event for 1. I'll spend 1 out of the CDC. This is an airlift. I'm going to move any pawn to any region. So let us fly her to help treat some of these blues. All right, so we rolled 2 syringes with our researcher. She's down here. So we're going to fly her up here, and we are going to treat 2 with my 2 syringes. So we airlifted her out of there and sent her right to where we needed her to prevent that outbreak. So that was good. That was her entire turn basically. So we're going to have to now do another infect region event. All right. So as usual, we draw 3. See where they land. A 2, a 3, and a 6. All right. So we clearly have to move there. All right, let's go to the scientist. All right, well, fortunately, our scientist is already in this region, so let's see if we can get her some treatments so she can work some magic. So we'll keep those. Let's keep all of these, I think. And we could probably have her... All right, I'm going to use one of these to treat a blue. I'm going to use a ship to move her down 1. I'm going to use another treat to treat the yellow, and I'm going to take 2 samples, 1 yellow and 1 blue. And now we're going to try to cure yellow. Alright, so this is blue. I'll put you to the side, but you guys are all my yellows, so hopefully we are able to get a good roll this time. So 5, 10, 14, 16 plus 2 is 18. So yellow's cured. So I take all the yellow, put them back in the bag. Any yellow I would have had in the treatment center, go back in the bag. And actually one of those yellow I threw in the bag has to go on the cured diseases card. All right, so we will put that there, and we are now halfway through to curing this pandemic. All right, let's roll our 3 infection dice and see what we get. We've got a 3, a 5, and a 6. All right, so we're getting a little crowded in some of these regions, but I think we're making good enough progress that we could potentially manage it. So we have to focus on red and blue now. So those are the 2 targets, and that's what we want. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so the good news is our researcher has all of her dice back. So she'll actually be effective this round. Not that she wasn't before. So I can take a whole lot of samples with her. Ooh, that actually might not be bad. That might not be bad. Where is she? She's in a good region. Okay, so I'm gonna take a sample of blue. I'm going to treat blue, rather. So there's a blue in her region. I'm going to treat it. And now we have 4 blue in the treatment center. And I've got 4 samples. So I'm going to take all 4 of these samples with my researcher. And I'm going to attempt to cure them with her right now. Why not, right? So let's see, I just need 13, remember? And that looks like 13 to me. It's 20. So we just cured blue. Alright, we're just trucking along here. So, all we need is red. Her turn's over, and now we need to infect regions. Alright, infection rate is still 3. Let's draw 3. Here's our 3. And we roll a 6, a 2, and a 2. So let's put the 2s in, and the 6. Oh, okay, so we're still good. Wow. Can't believe we're still good. All right, I think the next round I need to deal with that, and I need to deal with that because it's going to spread if I don't stop. So let's move on to our scientist. All right, so our scientist really just needs to move up 1. Remember, she just now freed up her die because she had a blue disease under her sample, so that gets cured as well. But she needs to get up here, so she only needs to move 1 space. And we'll see if we can do that. So we got a biohazard. I do have some treats and some samples. So what she'll do is she'll use 1 treat here and treat black. And one treat will cure all of them. We'll at least bring all of them there. And then she's going to move one to here. She's going to treat a red and then take a sample of that red. So we're going to work towards curing our final disease. Alright, so now we get to roll for infect. Alright, so we'll grab our 3. We get a 1, a 4, and a 3. Alright, so boom, we just had an outbreak. So what's that going to do? That's going to move us up 1. That's going to spill this down here. But that's it. We didn't have another one. So that's not too bad. We didn't have any chain reaction, so you could see it could chain around if you've got a lot of dice, and then trigger this thing to just start jumping up big time. So we're okay. It's manageable right now, but we're getting to a point where we probably have to take some better precautions with some of these regions. So let's move on to our researcher. All right. So remember, our target here is red, as much red as I can get. All right. So we got another biohazard, but I think we are going to move. We're not in danger of tripping the biohazard yet, but let's see what we can do with these. 2 moves and 2 treats. All right, so I'll do 1 move, 1 treat, 1 move, 1 treat. No samples, but at least I've put more cases in the treatment center so that our scientists can probably take samples next turn and hopefully cure this thing and win the game. So let's see how the infect regions phase goes. All right, let's draw 3 from the bag. And we get these. We get 1 for the CDC, we get a blue 6 and a red 5 standing by. All right, so we are still okay. I was hoping to get more reds there, but I don't think I need more. I think we're ready to go with the scientist. Let's see if we can end this. All right, what I'm looking for with the scientist are maybe 1 treat and a bunch of samples. I don't need to move at all with her. So I've got a treat and a sample. Let's re-roll these. No, let's re-roll these 3. That's a biohazard. I need treats. I mean samples. All right, cool. So I got 3 samples of biohazard. None of the event cards can help me here. So, oh, I forgot to move my biohazard up 1. So what I'm going to do is I want to move it up 2 this round to make up for it. I remember I rolled a biohazard last round. So let us jack this up 2 more. We are close to an epidemic. But we can take 2 samples. Actually, I want to re-roll this. I need a treat. Shoot. Alright, that was bad. So we have an outbreak. Because I'm going to have to move that again. So what that's going to do is it's going to re-roll all of this. Son of a... I shouldn't have re-rolled that. Alright, so this is all going to go. We've got ourselves an epidemic. So I'm going to have to grab... Oh boy. 4 more dice now because we're in this region. See, this is where it all goes south, right? Let's draw 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so I've got 4 dice plus everything in the treatment center. Yeah, you see where this is going, right? Let's get a better view of this. Let's see how this works out. Alright, so I can go to the CDC. So we get 1, 2. Okay, so 2. Let me finish 1 first. So there's all my 1s. They're good. 2s, boom, this is going to spill down to here and drive me up 1 on the outbreak. Alright, so that's fine. 3, bang, this is going to spread down again, drive me up another 1. 4. I've got a bunch of 4s here. So we're still okay because we only have 3 of each, and then 5 we're okay. So you see, you can get like 1 more of these, and I am done. And I wasn't able to grab any more samples, so now I've got to do some serious damage control this next turn. I might as well re-roll these because I don't need them. So a ship and a treat. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to take a ship here. Oh, actually, I'm the white. Ship here and treat red. And that's all I can do. That's all I can do. So her turn's over. Now I have to infect the region, which is not good. So I'm going to take, remember, 4 dice this time. See, this is where it all goes bad. I was doing, oh, so easy. So easy. All right, 4s. Well, okay, here we go. Bang. Outbreak. Up 1. Another one. Bang. Outbreak. 5. We're still good. Alright, so we're hanging on by a thread here. You could see how this is going south real quick. Our researcher needs to really step up the game here. Oh boy. Okay, let's move to her turn. Alright, so our researcher really needs to do some magic here. And I think she can. I think she can work some magic. So what do we want to do? I'm going to move her 2 spaces. So I've got 2 ships. I'm going to move her 1, 2. And from here, she's got 3 treats. So she's going to treat the black, and that's going to get rid of all of them with 1, right? So that they're all going to go here. And she's going to do 2 red treats. Treat those 2. So she's done. And now I have to roll for infect regions. Alright, infection rate is 4 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm running low on dice in the bag, so that's bad too. We've got 2 5s. Ah, that's another one. So let's do the 1, the 2, the 5 is going to spill. The second 5 is going to spill here, and that's going to move me up another one. So we're 2 away from losing. Let's go to our scientist. Okay, so our scientist is up here. And I think what I'm going to do first is spend 3 of my CDC dice, because I have quite a few there, and buy this event called Good Planning. And what Good Planning is going to do, it's going to let me set 1, 2, or 3 player dice to any result. This cannot affect biohazard results, but can be done before rolling the dice. So I'm going to, before I roll my dice, set 3 of them to whatever I want. So let's look at her dice and see what we want to do. All right, I know I want to take at least 3 samples of this red, so I can only do 3 of them. So I'm going to take those 3, and I have to roll this last one. And we get another one. And that's fine, I really don't care what that is at this point. So let's see what we're going to do. Alright, simple enough. We're going to take 3 samples of red. 1, 2, 3. And I can either take a ship somewhere or take another sample, and I don't really care because this is pretty much what it comes down to. So I'm going to roll these 4, and if I hit 13 or more, oh my god, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is probably the absolute worst possible roll I could have had. So the scientist was unable to cure red, and we are going to have to go back and infect the place again. You got to be kidding me. Okay, so we are at 4 infections, and I have to pull 4 out of the bag. If we ever run out of dice, that's not good. So I do have 4 in the bag. 1 goes to the CDC. We have a 4, a 2, which jumps down here, and it's going to move us up 1 more. Oh no, we are close. And a 3, which jumps down here and moves us up 1 more. And we have effectively lost the game due to too many outbreaks. All because our scientists epically failed to cure the red disease. Well, that was fun. So, this is Pandemic the Cure. This is how bad, like I warned earlier, this thing can bite you towards the end. You know, it's about dice. If you like dice and you're okay with these luck mechanics, which I am, I'm totally cool with it. I there is some mitigation, but not too much. So you are going to get stung, and that's the beauty of the game. If there were no luck mechanics here, it would probably be too easy. So, wow, I'm still stinging from that loss. That was pretty bad. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. As you see, this game plays very fast, super easy to solitaire, because there isn't much to bookkeep here, and that's nice for a quick, light, 30-40 minute game. It will go fast. I mean, these videos, the games tend to take longer because I have to stop to explain things, where when you're playing it, you just do it. So it tends to move much quicker. But in any case, you saw this game moves nice. It's tight. The components are phenomenal. I mean, the quality of these things they're like glazed with something, or gloss, like they're waterproof. For all I know, they look it. I mean, it's ridiculous. This thing's plastic. The dice are nice, solid, chunky. Every roll has its own unique dice, and even the cards. Even though I sleeved them, they're all like glossy sheen. And there's like some kind of layer on them, but again, these are like waterproof. You could eat off these things. So I put them in sleeves anyway, just because I'm like that. And the bag. Don't forget the bag. I mean, the bag is nice. So there it is. Pandemic the Cure. Great time. It's a good game. Hope you enjoyed the playthrough. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video. Please subscribe. If you get a chance, you're on Board Game Geek, go to Tube Tables and see some of the other great videos and other YouTube posters out there that have some wonderful content for you to enjoy. So, see you next time.